Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Stephanie. These are my 19 most memorable and recommended reads for 2019. Okay, so I read 432 books last year, and I think I had over 150 5-star books. So narrowing this down to 19 books was so freaking hard, but I have done it. Now, I do have a huge series of books and a whole bunch of recommendations within my Bookish Academy Award nomination, so make sure that you go check out that playlist and be ready for the live show that's coming next week. Yay! So you guys can really see which categories and which are my favorites, which are going to be done randomly, because there were so many books that I thought were just needed to be praised in 2019. Now, not to say that all of them were released in 2019. I did do a lot of backlist reading last year, and I will hope to continue to do that and everything like that. But a lot of these books were released in 2019. Some of them were not. But these are the 19 that are just so memorable for me and that I think everyone should go out and take a chance on. Oh my goodness. Now, of course, if you didn't like these books, that's fine. I love these books. These are my opinions. So there's that. All my information is down in the description box. There will be a affiliate link to most of these novels down there as well. So if you guys could help out just a little bit, it would be awesome by using those affiliate links. So let's just get into the books, right? So these are in no particular order. That is one thing that I definitely could not do, is put them in order. So what I did was I took all of my 5-star books and just randomly went through and picked out 19 that just made my life so much better. So much better. So the first book that I'm going to talk about is Tempest Old West #3 by Beverly Jenkins. This is a Black author. This is Black love. It's also a historical romance. Oh my goodness. Set in the 1800s. And I was so here for this. Beverly Jenkins does this thing where she doses you with history, and history that you may not have known. As a Black woman, I am always leery about reading historical novels because I don't want to read about Blacks being in America and slavery, or during civil rights movement and getting pelted by water cannons, or beaten or lynched, or any of that type of stuff. Beverly Jenkins does this thing where it may be set in that time and she may have nuggets of that information, but she intertwines it with a love story that you just cannot pull yourself away from. So this is a couple that is set in the Western area, like Montana, Colorado, over in the West. Idaho, I think, is one of the locations that is talked about in this book. And I didn't even realize that there were so many Black people there. So many other cultures and races were living in the late 1800s in that area. You have a prominent doctor. You have an independent woman that has went from the East Coast to this new town and knows how to use a gun, can speak for herself, is very independent. And I was just here for this book. It opened my eyes as an amazing, amazing Black author. She is an OG, and I am trying to read as much of her work as I possibly can. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Last Letter by Rebekah Yarros. I had met Rebekah quite a few times before I actually picked up this book. This book is a military book, and being that I have a military connection, being a veteran as well as a military spouse, having firsthand knowledge of the things that are written in this book make this book just so much more. So much more. I mean, someone that doesn't have that connection can also feel the emotions for this book, but if you have that connection, like that personal first line connection, not, oh, my cousin was in the military and I have kids, or, you know, something like that, you may not feel the impact of this story. So this story follows a soldier, a special operator, and, well, two special operators. One is this kind of gruff guy. He doesn't talk to very many people. He doesn't really have a family of his own. So his best friend, that's also a special operator, is like, hey, how about you start being a pen pal with my sister? You're both sort of in a place where you kind of need to vent your things that are going on with you, and being that we're deployed and she is there with her kids, you know, dealing with her stuff, maybe you guys can talk. So they end up starting to pen pal each other, and some things end up happening, and it's just so emotional. This is about him doing that last letter, that last request from a friend, and her being able to open up and trust someone new. And it's just, whew, so good. So good. This is a very polarizing book, and there are people that legitimately do not like the twists and turns that it takes, which is fine. That's fine. We don't all have to love the same book. But like I said in the beginning of talking about this book, if you have that very integral personal connection to being in that military experience, if you've ever had someone in that first line of passing away during military service, or if you have kids that may have issues or, you know, medical things that are going on in their lives, this is going to put you through your emotional paces. I mean, I'm trying to be sort of vague, but at the same time give the ramifications of this book, because it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. The next book I'm going to talk about is When Ashes Fall by Marni Mann. This is another book that I really can't say too much about. Just that it's absolutely fucking amazing. Like, seriously. You are going through this story and you really don't know what's going on, because there's a before section, there's an after section, it flip-flops back and forth. You're traveling on this journey of getting to know these characters, and then just an emotional roller coaster ride, and I think everyone should take it. I think it was absolutely amazing. Marni did an amazing job. And make sure that you read the author's note so that you can even understand a little bit more about this story. The next book I'm going to talk about is Hookshot by Kennedy Ryan. This is a Black author. This is a Black love book. Both of our main characters are African American. One is a possibly retiring basketball player. It's an age gap story. Our female character is kind of this free spirit, although she has some childhood issues that she is dealing with. And this story touched me on a personal level. Our female character went through some similar things that I have went through in my lifetime, and emotionally moved by this book, and just found it hard to read at some points, had to put it down at some points and then come back to it, and was just emotionally, personally touched by the care that Kennedy Ryan took to really make this book an emotional connection for anyone that has had the same childhood traumas that our main characters had, and having to go through those things, and just, it was superb. The next book I'm going to talk about is Method by Kate Stewart. This book I wanted to DNF quite a few times, but the payoff at the end was absolutely amazing, was astonishing. I absolutely loved the payoff that came with this book, because, I mean, it puts you through your paces. You don't know if you are reading about this main male character that is dealing with depression and suicidal, ideations, or if you are reading about an actor, or if you're reading about a character. You don't know if the couple that is involved in this story is going to stay together, if they're together while the story's going on. I was just like, oh my goodness. And it's just it's so good. It's so very good. I mean, just think about the title, think about the cover, this cover, and then you'll sort of know what you're going into when you read this book. But if you find that you are ready to DNF it, like I was at some points, push through, put it down, walk away, come back to it, and be emotionally just moved throughout this story. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. This is an author of color, and I really enjoyed this story. I mean, I liked the kiss quotient, but I really loved The Bride Test. So we have two characters. One is living her life, and she ends up meeting the mother to our main male character, and she comes over to the United States to sort of try and make a better life for her and her family, and she does that at all costs. And even though when we get our happily ever after with the couple in this story, you still see that the female character is independent. She is doing things on her own. She is like, I'm not going to let this man determine how my life ends or how I go about my life. And I loved that. I absolutely loved it. She was like, I know that he doesn't want me here, but I'm going to make this work because I need to take care of myself and I need to take care of my family. Loved that. So loved that. The next book that I'm going to talk about is actually a duet, and it is Indefinite and Infinite by Corinne Michaels. This is a duet that we had been begging Corinne Michaels to give us. This is a story about a Navy SEAL and how to be with two things that you love, the person that you love and the job that you love, and how do you deal with that? And then on top of that, the struggles that come along with being an older female and just life, trying to be independent, but at the same time getting everything that you want and your goals and the things that you saw when you were a little kid. How do I achieve those things now? And I was just like, oh, there's some suspense that goes along with it because it's a Navy SEAL. I mean, come on. And there's heart-wrenching moments. Oh, it was so good. It was such a good duet. It was so satisfying to finish off this series, the Salvation series, with these two books, that it was bittersweet by the end. And it was just like, oh, touched my heart. And it's something that it's a series that I will revisit because each of the couples that get their own duets are absolutely amazing, and I really just love these characters. The next book that I'm going to talk about is Rafe by Rebekah Weatherspoon. This is a Black author. This is an interracial couple, and I loved that this gave me so many inspirational vibes. It gave me Grey's Anatomy. It gave me a ginger nanny. Come on! Yes! I mean, cardiologist prodigy. Yes, so many so many amazing things about this story, that, you know, our female character is strong, but she has twins, and she is trying to deal with being a single parent, but knowing that she needs help, being that vulnerable parent that's like, I need help, so I'm gonna get it. She hires Rafe on a emergency, you know, basis, and it was just so good. He has connections with different communities, and just, it was so good. It was so very good, so relatable, just such an enjoyable treat. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Things You Save in a Fire by Katherine Center. Oh my goodness. Pick this book up. Requested it from NetGalley because it has a stunning, beautiful cover. In a year of illustrated covers, this illustrated cover isn't really illustrated, but at the same time it is. It's just freaking beautiful. And when you read this story, it's so amazing. So this story is about a female firefighter that moves from a progressive fire station where, you know, women are doing their thing, being the best that they can be, and has to move to a still non-progressive fire station where men are still pretty misogynistic and, you know, think that women aren't as good firefighters as men are. You have a family aspect to this story, and it's just, watching that dynamic was so good. So good. Watching this female character stay strong and independent without being overly aggressive in her wanting to make her place in this new non-progressive fire station was just absolutely amazing. Being that I have law enforcement experience, I can completely understand the old boys club where women firefighters, women police officers, women EMS people, EMS medics, and all those different services, army, you know, military period, that women are finding their stance and their independence and their equality in a way. And it was just such a good story. So good. I just loved it. And yes, there is a romance that goes along in it, but in so many ways that romance is secondary to the journey of our female character, and I was here for it. So here for it. The next book I'm going to talk about is Venom by Dee Garcia. This is a new to me author. I had never read anything by her. It is a fairy tale retelling of Peter Pan. It's reimagined. It is crazy. It's twisted. It is dark and so fucking amazing. Oh my goodness. I did not realize how much I loved retellings and reimaginings until I read this fucking book. And it was just absolutely, it blew my fucking mind. 24 hours I read this book and was like, what the fuck? This is amazing. This is so good. This is so fucking good. And I think everyone should read it and be drawn into the darkness and just, yes. If Peter Pan is your jam, you need to read this fucking book. The next book that I'm going to talk about is The Headmaster by Tiffany Reisz. This book is so crazy twisted. I have seen Tiffany at a couple of different events. I listened to her at a Polycon when she was talking about her work, and man, does this woman know how to write in subgenre combinations. She puts gothic with erotic, with interracial, with LGBTQIA+, and just, oh, she slays. She fucking slays this story. You go into it thinking, okay, I'm reading a story about a teacher that is going to this boys' school that is off in the Appalachian Mountains, and you know, she's gonna be the new teacher. They start to try and matchmake, and you feel the connection between her and the headmaster, and then some things twist and turn, and it has some gothic feel to it. I'm trying not to give away anything, but it's fucking amazing, and it blew my fucking mind when I read it. Just blew it. Just done for. It was so fucking amazing. The next book that I'm going to talk about is another duet. Whew. Woo-wee. So, The Kingmaker and the Rebel King by Kennedy Ryan. Black author. Kennedy Ryan is my go-to for realistic contemporary romance. My girl was inspired by Scandal, and she brought the, all of it. Just brought it all. Brought it in this duet. So it is highly researched, and it has a Native American female character. You have ecological sort of standpoints when it comes to pipelines and spiritual. You have a political side to it, in which our main female character ends up getting into politics. I was just here for this. Here for it. Here for it. Because I love Scandal. Because I love Kennedy Ryan. I absolutely adored this duet. Adored it. So good. Devoured it. And can't wait to reread it again. The next book I'm going to talk about is Landon and Shay Part 1 by Brittainy C. Cherry. This is a black author. This is a YA novel, because Part 1 is the YA section of it, that blew my fucking mind and made my emotions go absolutely crazy. It made me think, as a mother to a boy who could be this character, and having a friendship between these two characters, a love-hate sort of thing. I'm not a big person that reads books that are set in high school, but this one really dragged me in, and you could feel the emotional dynamic between our two main characters. You could feel how their families interacted with each other, or that there was something going on. They're tangled more than they thought they were, and it was just fucking amazing. Had my little heartstrings all sorts of tore up with this book. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Assistant by Marni Mann. So Marni Mann has been twisting my brain in 2019, and she did not fail to continue that ride with this book, because I had to listen to the ending 5 different times, and I still want to go back and reread this book, because you have before, you have after, you have it flip-flopping back and forth between characters, and you have no fucking clue what's going on, and I still don't have a clue what's going on, because there are some things that end up happening within this book that I'm just like, what is going on? What? So this married couple hires an assistant, and you look at the cover and you're like, I know what's going on. I know what's going to happen with this story. I know he's going to get with her and she's going to be devastated. No, bitch. No, that is not what happens. That's not a spoiler. That's not what happens. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Otherwise, it's so fucking twisted. So twisted. So twisted. The next book that I'm going to talk about is a duet as well, and it is Surrender and Dominate by Amy Daws. This is the oldest brother of the Harris brothers, who I fell into a hole and love so dearly. The Harris brothers are absolutely amazing. Their stories are great, the other 3 brothers, but the oldest brother is absolutely amazing. He got 2 books, and this duet is superb. It is about finding your inner peace, about being the oldest child, taking that leadership role, and what it does to someone's soul. And I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. I mean, you can read this duet by itself without reading the other Harris brothers. This just happens to be my favorite out of all the Harris brothers. I enjoyed the other ones. I dare to say that I love the other ones as well, but this one I am ecstatic about. This one made me cry. This one made me laugh. This one made me fan myself because he's so fucking swoony. And yes, so many yeses. So many yeses. Almost done. Almost done. The next book that I'm talking about is Dirty Letters by Keeland and Penelope Ward. This was read on a recommendation from my book boo, Bree, at Falling for Romance. And I was completely surprised. I thought I was getting a pen pal, reconnection story that's going to be sexy and funny and things like that. And then I found myself in tears because of some of the aspects of this book. Yes, so many yeses. I devoured this book, was emotionally taken by this book, fanned myself by this book. It was hot and steamy, and I was here for this book, and I think you guys should go check it out as well. And the final book that I'm going to talk about is Pretend You're Mine by Fabiola Francisco. This book actually released in 2020, but I received an art copy of it, and I thought it was just absolutely amazing. I love the other books in the Love in Everton series, but this one I'd have to say was my favorite. It's about two small town people hooking up, and because they have a connection, it's fake dating that turns into something more, and it was just swoon worthy, and it was beautiful, and they really kind of connected. It just jumps off the page for, their chemistry, and just so good. So very good. It wasn't cliche in any way. It just really grabbed me, and I absolutely loved it. Loved it. And it made the list because I read it in 2019. It was my last book of 2019 that I read. So let me know if you have read any of the books that I have read that I just named off. Are you going to go pick up any of these books? I know that my descriptions of them were very vague, but I can't give you anything more than that. That's just not the reviewer that I am. But I think that my emotions for these books have come through. At least I hope so. I hope that you take my emotions and my heart and my soul and love for these books and go out and check them out. I hope that you love them as much as I do. I hope. Because they are so memorable and amazing for me for 2019. So, yeah. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys later.